Hello and welcome to the Leash Today Talking Sport podcast. This is Mark Comerford standing in for Alan Hartnett, and I'm joined today by Stephen Miller. Stephen, how are you?
That's not too bad. You have big boots to fill.
Well, I'd never fill Alan's boots. I wouldn't even try now. I'm merely a replacement for the week. I'm going to let you take the lead here because you had a very busy few days. So, first of all, why don't you talk to us about last weekend, and maybe you can start with Cole Chanahoe.
Yeah, so they're up and going to beat Amsterdam. Relatively comfortable winners. They played at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning in the Centre of Excellence against Amsterdam, the European hurling champions, who did a double. Myself and Alan chatted about this last week. But a good win for Cole Chanahoe. Um, it's been a great season for them, winning the championship. That club came together just at the very start of COVID. The giant Colton and Chanahoe joined forces, and they've had a tough couple of years. But there's been a fairly good spirit there, and they got the success that I think the club and the community bringing two places together isn't easy. Everybody looks at the Rathdowney Earl model, which joined in 2005, won a senior championship in 2006, and then won. I think it's the sixth that they won after that. Um, and they are the prime example of clubs coming together and having success quite quickly and quite often. Boris Kilcotton then followed their lead and um, further lead, had success eventually, won one senior championship, were actually relegated this year, and never really strikes you as vibrant a setup as Rathdowney Earl, but that's what I suppose the difference between success. And then other clubs have followed lead, and other clubs have tried to follow lead. One of them that got over the line is Cole Chanahoe, and they got relegated actually a couple of years after they joined, which was little bit, I won't use the word ironic, but separately the clubs had been playing at a relatively high level, and then together they actually went down a level, but they've come back up. I think they're self-sufficient as a club. They have a good underage section now. It still wouldn't have absolutely massive numbers or anything, but that was a big win for them. And then to go and win in Leinster against European champions, I know it's a bit novel, was good. They're at home in the next round to the Kilkenny champions, Tulloher Ross Birkin, which will be, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but I would fear that will be as far as they will go. The great Walter Walsh will be playing for the Kilkenny champions in the next round. They were comfortable winners over the Wicklow champions in the first round, which were the Wicklow intermediate champions. These are the Kilkenny junior champions. Cole Chanahoe, despite being the Laois intermediate champions, which is really only junior, playing the Leinster Junior Championship because we have Premier Intermediate. Myself and Alan are always giving out about that. But no, a good win. Keeps them going for a while longer. Damien Walsh's stock continues to rise as a manager. And no, fair play to him. And the other sort of that was the only adult game on last weekend. Like the adult stuff has completely quieted down. I suppose there's a 2 week break now until they play. They're not playing this weekend; they're playing next weekend, which will be a busy adult weekend of hurling. Because Camross are at home to Naas in the first round of the Leinster Senior Hurling Championship. It's a good opportunity, and if Camross were to win that one, I think it's the Westmeath or Dublin champions that'd be at home to in the semi final. Ballyhale Shamrocks lost the Kilkenny final. O'Loughlin Gales are a relatively new name on the scene that'll be in Leinster Club. You wouldn't know. Maybe Camross could get to a Leinster Club final. Clough-Ballacolla did a couple of years ago. Rathdowney Earl got to a semi
It'd
final.
be a great achievement.
Be a great achievement. They've done it before. Camross has such a proud tradition that they're not going to be settled with just the Laois Championship. You can be sure. They've had a 5 week break to plug, which is a little bit difficult, but uh, they're playing Naas, who are Naas five in a row Kildare champions, and they beat the Offaly champions, but it won't be simple. They've a good Clough-Ballacolla man as their hurling chairman in Naas. So yeah, that's next week in Moore Park. And then the Portlaoise go off down to Ockram to play the Wicklow senior champions, Bray Emmets, who are very strong. Won Leinster last year, beat Abbey Leaks in an early round last year, and it's a tough task for Portlaoise to go down there, but it's attainable. Um, I think Bray Emmets were only barely beaten by Monaleen, who eventually won the All Ireland Intermediate last year. Monaleen from Limerick. So that's where the Leinster Club hurling stands. And then everything else last weekend was under 20. So we've had a busy week of under 20 hurling and football. I stick with the hurling for the moment. It's actually been rattled off quite quickly. The group stages are coming thick and fast. And I know Portlaoise played the first round of the under 20 last Wednesday night against Clough-Ballacolla. They were badly beaten under the new floodlights in Ballacolla. Then they played on the bank holiday Monday, where they had a good win over Rathdowney Earl, and they're back in action tonight, Thursday, against Abbey Leaks. So that's that's 3 games in 8 days. It's a bit much. I think the under-20. I know it's been played in the winter. I think it could be spaced out a little bit better because when you add in as
Yeah,
well,
I was going to ask. I was going to ask. I was shocked to see that they were in semi-final stages this weekend coming already. I mean,
mm,
I
and if
thought that was a bit bad, but clearly you don't think it's a great setup either. I mean, surely an extra couple of weeks wouldn't make that much of a
yeah,
difference.
I think so. Look, I don't. I'm probably often given out about fixtures and that here, and it's not easy. It's a very demanding schedule. And if you go on into December, people are giving out that you're playing hurling in December, and that's not ideal either. But if we want under-20 championships, I think we have to accept that they are going to have to be played at this time of the year. So being played at this time of the year and into December is better than them not being on at all. In the last year or two, they've introduced group stages at under-20, which I think is only fair to an extent as well. Like one strike and you're out was a bit much. Introducing groups of four has I think been a good thing, but like Portlaoise are playing 3 games in 8 or 9 days. That's too much. When you add in also that they played under-20 football championship on Friday night last and are due to play the second round of under-20 football this Saturday if they don't get out of the group. So you're talking about 5 games in about 10 days. And even if they do win the hurling, they'll be playing hurling on Sunday instead of the football. I think it could be spaced out a little bit better. Um, like 3 games in 8 days isn't ideal. I think a little bit better could be done. It could be done in that, like they're on course to finish by the end of November. Sort of semi-finals of the hurling are this weekend, and it's a good competition. Like I know the group stages there can be a few one-sided games, but you get down to the semi-finals, we're going to have the Harps. I will predict that Abbey are going to beat Portlaoise now tonight, and Abbey have gone off the boil a little bit. So has Ballyroan footballers. They would be the corresponding minor champions from 3 years ago. Ballyroan are the corresponding football champions from 3 years ago. But they played on Friday night. Football Ballyroan's Monday morning Abbey they lost both games against decent teams, to be fair, but it's a heavy schedule, and the under-20 is a great competition. If even if it went into January, I don't think it'd be absolute worst thing in the world. But anyway, yeah, I was at the other game I was at. Camross are through, and they've topped their group, and they're going to play the winners of Abbey Support Leash in one semi-final. Cluck Ballycoll and the Harps will play in the other semi-final. I was down in Cluck on Monday morning, 11 o'clock last, or was it 12 o'clock? Well, it doesn't really matter that much. But the Cluck Ballycoll club, they're in such a healthy state. They opened their new pitch in Cluck on Monday morning. They bought ground, they bought 7 or 8 acres there a couple of years ago. I think they spent 130 or 40,000 on that. They spent another about the same or a bit more. I think they spent over 300,000 on getting it up, developing the pitch and that. So they've a lovely new pitch. The banks on both sides, there's space for a juvenile pitch, plenty of car parking space, and they've a walkway around the grounds. There's no dressing rooms at the moment, but they're using the community hall, which is right beside the pitch in Cluck. And they had took Balacolla a small club, but they're very vibrant. They're very tight on space on their pitch in Balacolla. They tried to get more land around there, just wasn't coming available. So they bought a second pitch in the Cluck village, so that they obviously represent the two villages. And now they're very, as I was talking to one of their leading club members, I said, "Geez, you've so much space. Now you'll even be able to play football." But I thought the particular man I was talking to, I thought he was going to get sick at the very mention of it. But there was a great vibe, and they beat. It was the first competitive match played in that pitch, and the first competitive game of hurling played in Clough in modern times. They reckon could have been games played there in the 50s and the 60s, but there was no formal field, hurling field. So it's a huge addition. Clough is a lovely little village. There's a pub right beside the pitch. The school is across the road. There's a church. Nice rural, nice part of the county, and it's great to see a hurling pitch slapping, and that'll get used for generations to come. But don't think there'll be much football in it. Is the only downside I would say.
No, I wouldn't be
But
waiting for the big ball to get it going down there.
yeah,
No.
but they're a good under-20 win as well. Like, it was a right buzz at that match on Monday morning, Bank Holiday Monday, and there was a nice crowd at it. And Abbey Leaks were a bit disappointed because they were minor champions 3 years ago. But Ballycollar were minor champions last year, and Killian Dunn scored 2-8. Um, they were a good team. They've obviously like Saporic, Brennan, Tomas, Brennan. Um, good setup, and it was fairly impressive. But Abbey Leaks aren't gone. I reckon Abbey Leaks will beat Portlaoise, and Abbey Leaks will play Camross, which should be a good game. Uh, Camross beat Abbey Leaks in a minor final maybe 2 years ago, so it'll be a lot of the same players, and you've a lot of crossover. Like they still have Colin and Cormac Byrne, Ross Coffey, Fionn, or no, not Fionn is another age, Lawson Obular, and
He's class.
Lawson is quite good, very good at the under
Class.
20 level. And who else? Oh, Sean Fitzpatrick was middle of the field. Davin McAvoy, Sam Quinn, very good player. So they have a good under 20 team, and that I'd reckon that I believe to be playing Camross in the semi final on Sunday in Centre of Excellence, which is the two semi finals are down for the same time on opposite pitches. I think they actually could have put them again, one after another. There would be a handful of people would like to see both, and even
Yeah.
say pitches is one thing. You could still have played them on separate pitches, you know. But again, don't want to be giving it. But that was last weekend. Under 20 football, then good first round of games. So we'll only talk about A. We'll talk about B when it gets down to knockout stages. In the A, the result of the weekend was Greg Cullen beating Ballyrone. Again, Ballyrone were minor champions 3. I was at this one on Friday night in Greg. I didn't really look at the weather before I went, and I got caught in
Always a mistake.
bad weather. Now I did have my umbrella in that, but I didn't have enough like layers on me otherwise, and I was wet. Even though the umbrella, I was still getting, well, it wasn't keeping me fully dry. But Greg had a fantastic win, 2-9 to 10 points or 2-9 to 11 points over Ballyrone. Ballyrone were down a few. Did no Killian Byrne, did no Sam Quinn, did no Conor McWee. They're very strong. They should be very strong at this level, and they were ahead at half time. Played quite well. Tough conditions, and Greg got a run in the second half. Ivan Murphy was very good. Aaron Dorgan midfield. There's 6 or 7 lads who are senior club players, and as had Ballyrone, they got ahead. Ballyrone made a big comeback. Davin McAvoy, Sean Fitzpatrick, Oren Delaney was very good. Kicked 2 points. Ben MacDonald was good. They got it back to 1-9 to 11 points, and they were in search of the equaliser in injury time. The kick out came. They got their hands on the ball. I reckon had they held onto it, they probably would have forced an equaliser. They didn't. Greg countered up the field, and Jack Byrne scored an absolutely wonderful goal to make sure of it in injury time. And Greg now plays Stradbally Parish Gales in the second. It's group stages though, so Ballyrone aren't gone. I would fully expect Ballyrone to beat Crettyard Spink at the weekend. Crettyard Spink were a decent enough team, but they went down badly enough in the end. Stradbally Parish Gales. You would feel that Greg and Ballyrone are the two stronger teams in the group, but Stradbally Parish Gales were competitive last year. Decent enough crew of players, and they play Greg next Tuesday in Stradbally, which will be a good chance for them, and they'll have to play Ballyrone in their last game. In the other side of the draw, then Joseph's had way too big a win over Portarrington. Portarrington quite weak at this age and have been poor at under 20 the last and minor the last couple of years. Really, the half decent minor team this year, which is disappointing for Port given how strong they were at senior level. But
It's a seriously tough group on paper. I was expecting when I saw the group here, I thought it was going to be an awful lot closer than the two games turned out to be.
Well, Joseph's have their house in order with their under 20s and underage teams, and like it shouldn't be a scenario that Port are going down to Joseph's with only 15 players. Like that's very disappointing, and I don't know who's I don't like Port were senior champions last year, and there should be a scenario where they can get the 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and 20-year-olds. And were 10 points to no score down after about 20 minutes, and it was game over. Um, Joseph's strong team. That Portlaoise team that you saw on Saturday, they're quite strong as well. They were beaten in the minor final 3 years ago by Ballyrone. But a lot of them have played intermediate and senior since, as have the Ballyrone lads. It could well be a Portlaoise Ballyrone final again this year. It was a Portlaoise Ballyrone final 2 years ago anyway. And Cortademo were down a good few though. You saw them on Saturday.
Seven players they were missing.
Yeah. They were all gone to
Including,
Liverpool for the weekend or something, I think.
Yeah, well, you take Davy Costello out of any team,
Ryan
it's
Little.
going to make it serious.
Yeah,
Ryan Little as well,
I think
yeah.
the two Fenleys were missing. Mikey
So
and Tom.
it's not a fair reflection of where Courtwood Emo are, but Portlaoise were incredible.
Yeah,
they really pulled away in that second half.
Yeah, and Colin Conroy scored a hat trick. League of
Hat-trick
Ireland
in
soccer
10
player.
minutes. Yeah, he only came on. Conor Raggett went off injured early in the first half, and Conroy came on. He played very well. He was drifting back into midfield. Played very well in the second half or in the first half, but in the second half, he just came alive
Nice.
and scored a cracking hat trick. Not just a hat trick, but 3 great goals.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Colin is a great sportsman. You don't play at that level of soccer. He's represented Ireland at underage soccer. You don't play at that level of soccer without being a very good sportsman. And he's a cousin of the great Bruno McCormack. I also worked with his dad Martin in the Leinster Express years ago, and his mum Caroline writes for us here in Laois today. So he's a good lad, and he's a very talented sports fella. I'm sure I'm sure the Portlaoise senior management are saying, "Hey, give up that old soccer now and come play with Portlaoise seniors." But that's a good Portlaoise under 20 team.
There's a good few of that Portlaoise team are playing soccer for Portlaoise as well, and they're all fairly tidy at both codes. Now
Who else is playing?
they've a right collection of athletes. Mick Culleton,
Yeah, good player. Yeah,
uh,
DJ
Kitchen.
White. No, DJ White's on
No,
the hurling
I
team.
don't think DJ plays football. Plays soccer.
Kieran
I know he
O'Donnell.
plays hurling, all right. But they've a good few lads playing there,
Yeah,
and they have a serious team.
yeah, not a very strong team.
Serious team.
Portlaoise to play. Portlaoise playing Joseph's. That'd actually be a good under 20 game this weekend, and I'd fully expect Emo Courtwood to beat Port Arlington, which would give them a chance in their last game playing Joseph's, who are Joseph's are decent, but they're not. Maybe Emo Courtwood could well that game could it probably fancy Portlaoise to beat Joseph's, or that would put Portlaoise through, and then it would the last group game between Emo Courtwood. If Emo Courtwood were back to full strength against St Joseph's, should be a good game. Um, in the other group, Stradbally are going to need to beat one of Greg or Ballyrun Abbey,
Ballyroan.
which I'd give them a decent chance. I'd say their best chance might come against Greg if Ballyrun have everyone back towards it. I know those Ballyrun lads, there's 6 or 7 of them playing hurling as well, so there's going to be a lot of demand on them. Uh, but it's the under 20 is a good competition. You've got a lot of good young players across 4 age. Yeah, because at minor 14-year-olds can't play, but by the time they get to 17, they're more than able to play at under 20. So you're
Yeah,
bringing in strong 17-year-olds, like the best county minors essentially. 18-year-olds are more able for under 20 than they were for minor at 15. So it's what else do we have on the ages? That's the under 20.
yeah. Just a look to head to this weekend, and a few four clubs in Leinster action. So if you want to have a start there with Ballyline and Ananock in the football.
Yeah, so obviously a vested interest in one of those, and that my own club Ananock are playing the Loud champions Glide Rangers. Don't know a huge amount about them. I think they're a small rural club like ourselves, and we play them in Stradbally on Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's a quarter final. Great opportunity for us. Sort of exciting playing in Leinster club. It's just so novel and new. You
Yeah,
don't know the teams. Um, we would look to the likes of Rose and Allison Park, Rathneski in the past have won this competition, and they seem to have had an amazing experience doing so. You just love to be able to get a run, and a run is 2 or 3 games in it. We had a great win down in Carlow the last day, but you don't know. You don't know what the comparative level of the teams that you're coming up against. It's really a step into the unknown, but we'll give it a good rattle anyway. And we're flying the Laois flag now, so it's a proud
absolutely.
thing for our club. And
And one
Ballyline,
thing's for sure, you won't be found wanting for scores anyway. I was doing the top scorers, and there was three Ananock men in the top five,
yeah.
both
Well,
from play.
I saw a stat that we were the top scorer in club in Laois, which would definitely never have been the case before. But it comes with a caveat that we played like Camross and Castletown, who weren't that strong in the group stages. But we do. We've a couple of very good forwards. We obviously have the likes of Killian Horgan, I think, was the top scorer in the end. Damien McCall
Yeah,
is a class
John
act.
Scully pushed him very close.
Elliot Scully,
Elliot Scully as well.
Elliot Scully is a real handful, and John Scully, who predominantly played his football in defence, and he's sort of playing midfield for us now the last game or two. But he clocked up a couple of these great man to take a goal as he showed at the county final. So yeah, but look, the scores will be. It won't be, I don't. I think scores this weekend will be much lower because the ground conditions are much tougher. It's slippy, it's wet. The scoring range gets smaller in weather like this, and you're coming up against very county champion who went and bet the Offaly winners Dank in the last round. So you're coming up against teams that have won their county championship, have won 5 or 6 games in a row to do so. So um, it'll be a fair step up. And then Ballyline are playing the Wicklow champions Barn Derry, who are from around British Bay and Wicklow. They only won the junior in Wicklow a couple of years ago. So they're after going junior intermediate in the space of about 3 years. They've a couple of senior Wicklow players, Malachi Stone and Jack McCall. They're both in the half back line, and they've a Wicklow senior hurler, middle of the field, Andrew Kavanagh. So they'll be decent enough. Um, they'll be decent enough. They only won the Wicklow final. Talk about dramatic. They scored a penalty 6 minutes into injury time, which was some way to win a county final. But I think Ballyline are as strong a team as Laois have sent into the Leinster Intermediate in a long time. I think they're very well balanced. I think they're they've obviously in Gary Walsh to the top scorer now. I'd say Malachy Stone will probably be sent back to mark him. So that could be a sort of a bit of a battle to watch out for. That's in the centre of excellence on Saturday, and an Knocker playing in Stradbally. So both teams have home county venue. You can play it in your home pitch, which I think is a little bit of a pity, but it's it's not. It used to be that you could play at home, but not anymore. Um, and then in the Camogie, there's two Laois teams. O'Moores are playing the Kilkenny champions, which will be a tough one. They're going down to Graignamanagh to play. Who are they playing? Like I don't know who.
Don't have it in front of me either. That was an unfortunate draw though to get the Kilkenny champions. I mean,
but I suppose if you win a game, you're going to like you probably hope to avoid them until the final. They beat. Who the hell are they playing? I got hold on a second now, and they have the Kilkenny champions won the Kilkenny final, intermediate final, and the first round of the Leinster against Buffers Alley, both after extra time. So they're obviously a fairly battle hardened team. Um, O'Moore's had a massive win. They went up to Dublin last weekend and bet St Vincent's, and they absolutely hammered them. So
yeah, well, I think they definitely got a bigger test off cameras in the county final
yeah,
than they did up in
sorry,
Dublin.
it's Roar Inistioge. They're playing on Saturday in Graignamanagh, so it's sort of down south to Kilkenny. It's a lovely part of the country. Um, down there, and that's it. And then the Harps are going up to play Kappa in Kildare. Kappa is actually the home club of our very generous brand ambassador partners, Joe Mallon Motors. So Anthony Mallon and the lads are very proud Kappa sponsors. Kappa Club, small little club up in a nice part of the country up in Kildare as well. So that's who the Harps are playing. The Harps, obviously, the Mahonys and that are back. They won three All Irelands and maybe four Leinsters in a row back 15, 16 years ago. So they'll have going away to play in Leinster will be of no sort of they won't be overawed by it or anything. So that's a big
No, they're both sisters, specifically Elaine. Both of them, they had a really good final as well, the county
yeah.
final.
They're fantastic athletes and sports. They took up cross country running, and I see them playing golf, and they're just they're great. They're great sports people and a great family down there from Hill involved in everything. And no, good luck to them. Wouldn't surprise me now if they were to win. That's only is that a semi final as well? I think actually. I think both Camogie games are semi finals. Um, so yeah, that's all these ladies football teams are out of Leinster. Obviously, there was a bit of a sag over Portlaoise and that. And then what else? So Justin McNulty. We still don't have news on his backroom team. Just sort of general news. We don't have news on his backroom team. He's looking for
But this is
players.
big news anyway, I think. This is bigger news than any backroom team. Yourself and myself had a quick chat about this, but I'll let you give the rundown on it.
Yeah, so he has just sent an email out to the club, sort of asking for them to send forward players that they believe that have the ability to make county footballers. It's a sort of an unusual one in this day and age. Like it's, you know, most like part. I look. He's really sort of funny covering off bases. I think when he was here previously in 2010, he actually held trials, and trials are a little bit of an antiquated thing now in intercounty. Not like I suppose with so many transport is easier. No, it's not like 60 or years ago where you wouldn't be able to drive to matches. You'd be sort of relying on people sending
Yeah,
you in the best players. Um, but look, I don't think it does any harm whatsoever. It's a little bit unusual. Um, Part of me would say that county management teams, and we haven't got his backroom team yet. It's probably not finalised. I'm sure he's working away on it. If you're part of a senior inter-county management backroom team, you should know every single player in the county and everything that is available to you. Um, I don't think a combined team. I know McNulty would have been away from the scene from Leeds, so he wouldn't know the players. But his backroom team, when it's in place, if they don't know the players in Leash, then geez, I don't know if they've any real business being in those roles. But,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
I think it covers off the bases. I think if there's one or two guys out there that could come through this and benefit from it, worst case scenario, to get 2 or 3 months training at senior inter-county standard and go back to their clubs with that in the bank. And best case scenario, he plucks one or two lads from, that he sees something in them that says, yeah, you give a year or two of inter-county preparation and you can be of inter-county standard. And it's a huge step up for anyone, but I don't see any harm whatsoever in what he's doing in that
no, I was
regard.
just thinking if they were going to go down this route, they might as well ask Alan to pick this the preliminary squad and let him name 40 or 50 on the panel, and then Justin can narrow it down after that.
Yeah. But I
Um,
suppose, yeah, he could do something like that. The thing is, though, like it's not for everybody. Laois are at as low an ebb as they have been in a long time. They're in Division 4. Leinster, the prospects of winning the Leinster Championship are entirely non-existent given Dublin's dominance. So it's not as attractive as it was. Like, I'm 40 this year, let's say. When I was 20, the lads my age like would have taken your right arm and your left arm to get in with Laois. And that's not the case anymore. Back then, they were regularly on live TV. They were regularly playing in front of full houses in Croke Park. There was all-star tours for guys. There was international rules trips. There was Laois went on a team holiday to South Africa. You don't have any of that now. And
No, if
it's
anything, the hurling's probably more appealing than the football.
yeah, and they all have the struggles, and it's just like it's probably a 5, 6 night a week commitment. And lads that do it and love it, sure, you're in your 20s, you're at the peak of your physical strength. Why, like, Ginny, sure, it's a great challenge and great opportunity, but the return on that time isn't as attractive. So look, it's not for everyone, but you would love to see a couple of guys coming through, and maybe guys from the junior intermediate clubs that when they get exposed to that level of training could unlock further potential in themselves. So I don't see any harm in it whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Um,
Do you want to have a quick chat about your interview with Enda Rowland?
oh yeah, sorry,
Or
that,
do you want
that
to?
that's available as well. Yeah, sorry. So Brent, we talked about brand ambassadors. Enda Rowland is a brand ambassador with Laois Hire, who are the official sponsors of Laois GAA and of Laois GAA county teams, and they own the naming rights of Moore Park. So Enda is a brand ambassador with them. I had a very good chat with him. It was recorded last week, but it was only available to go out this week. And Enda was he's great, engaging company. So he's a top class goalkeeper for a start, and we didn't even talk about goalkeeping that much in the chat. But his own Enda Rowland fitness business. He chatted about the disappointment of the county final with Abbey Leagues getting such a sort of a disappointing showing from Abbey Leagues and the game being over so early. But they're of the view that they're at this level to stay and they're going to be back and they'll improve on it, and it's hard to argue with that. Like, they're very good underage setup. Um, they underperformed in the final against the most successful club in Laois hurling history. There's no massive shame in that, especially if they come back and learn from it. And he spoke about representing Ireland at the Shinty and playing against Scotland, and the Flower of Scotland playing, and the anthems. It is just a cool experience. And then he's jumping at the bit to get going again next year with Laois hurling. So I'd recommend anyone to listen to that interview with Enda. We will have a written version of some of it there at some stage as well. Um, busy, can't get everything done, but
No,
but I do recommend.
especially without the wonderful Alan.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll put a link. I'll put a link to that interview in the body of the text with this podcast, and
Perfect,
people can just
perfect.
click
Yeah,
on it there and go listen to it.
yeah, perfect. That's
So
great.
yeah, I
That's,
think we've everything covered there, Stephen.
I think that's yeah. So it's yeah. There's under 20 and there's club Leinster club stuff this weekend, and we hope in the next week that we will have news on Justin McNulty's backroom team, because it's of interest, and we should have fixtures details for the National League. Like, we'll have the O'Byrne Cup in January. It's only about 7 or 8 weeks away. It's not far away at all. But anyway, that's enough. That's enough for
And
the. We'll be back
before we
on.
run out of time, do you want to give a quick plug to our new quizcast that's
Yes,
coming
so
up soon?
anyone who wasn't listening to our rugby podcast, and probably would be a crossover people who wouldn't have been, we have a new Laois Today quizcast original series idea generated by yourself, Mark Comerford, and you are the quiz master. So we have a new knockout quiz cast competition coming up in the next couple of weeks. When did I say the first round will be broadcast? About the 16th, 17th of November. You'll record the first episodes next
Yeah,
week.
we'll start doing stuff next week,
Hmm.
and
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 with the
get
16
get the first
contestants,
round ready.
it's straight knockout. Mark has a number of cool rounds devised. And myself and Alan did a sort of a head to head in last week's rugby podcast. But this will be a new podcast. It's free to air. It'll be available to watch as well as to listen to in podcast form. Watch, we'll have it on YouTube and Facebook. The 16 contestants, straight knockout. And we have quasi celebrities selected from around the county to take part in it. And the straight knockout, the first 2 rounds, the round of 16, the quarterfinals will be done on Zoom. The semi-finals and finals will be on live location in Portlaoise. We have a sponsor coming on board to look after that, and that'll be a sort of an open night that people can come in and sort of cheer on the people who have made the last four. So it should be a bit of crack. The idea is very it's great element of fun to it, and it's tough enough but fair. And there
Tough
will
but
be Laois
fair,
Today
yeah,
representatives in it as well. So I think it'll be popular, and we'll be pushing that strongly now over the next month or so. So yeah, I'm quite sure our audience will enjoy that one.
absolutely. plenty of GAA questions as well as a few other sports sprinkled in there as well.
Good.
Something for everybody.
All right. We leave it at that. Over and out. Good luck. God bless. Goodbye.